The internet is tired of overconsumption, specifically in the fashion and beauty space. So now the term underconsumption core is trending. If you've never heard of the term underconsumption core, it's simply just a direct response to the influencer-driven culture of overconsumption. And personally, I was very excited and intrigued to see this trending. I love seeing people reusing their products, using up their products, repurposing things that they own around the house, and being more sustainable. But after watching multiple videos on underconsumption core, what it means, what it represents, it's left me feeling a little bit confused. So in this video, I'm going to discuss the problems with the underconsumption core trend. And because we are a makeup channel, I will also be applying on some old makeup that I might have forgotten about. Before you leave any comments, I will also be talking about what I love about this trend. Just know that even though I am talking about the problems I see with this trend, I do think that it has good intent. I really enjoy some of the content that I've been seeing come out of this trend. I also want to note that as someone who has a passion for beauty and creates content around makeup products and even shopping, I've been very self-aware of my consumption for a long time, and I know a lot of you have been too. And I filmed this video because I was really just trying to navigate my personal thoughts on this trend. So this is not meant to be a video essay of any sort, but it's more like a chat to dive into my opinions on this topic and also discuss how it impacts us as the beauty community. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about underconsumption core. What is the oldest beauty product that you own? I can't think of the oldest beauty product, but the other day I came across this little pouch, and I didn't come across it because this is actually a pouch I use every single day. Currently, it's being used as like a wallet that I put in my purse. I realized that this is probably the oldest thing that I have. I've had this little pouch since middle school, which means this is like over 10 years old, way over 10 years old. I think I was like 11, 12, and I'm currently in my mid-20s. It's literally a bag that came with a set of EOS lip balms. If I can find what that set looks like, I will put up a picture because I cannot believe I still have this. I think it's one of the most versatile bags I've ever had, and it still works perfectly. Zipper is perfectly intact. It might be a little bit dirty. Let's go ahead and discuss the problems with the underconsumption core trend. Y'all are gonna have to bear with me because I have a hard time talking and doing makeup at the same time. I might go on some tangents, but first old product that I'm gonna use is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. She's an oldie, she's a goodie, but I know that there are a lot of people out there that still consider this their holy grail foundation. Plus, it has a cult following, and for good reason, especially if you have oily skin. I made a YouTube short about this, and I actually was recommended to apply it with my fingers. I thought that was absolutely insane because I am not a finger application person, and the reason why I haven't used this in a while is because it's really just my special event foundation, and I haven't had one since like September. I don't like to wear it on a daily basis just because it's so heavy, and I usually wear it on camera, but recently I've been using the It Cosmetics CC cream on camera instead of this one, so I'm excited to, you know, remind myself about why I love it. I'm not a finger application person, but I did try it the other day and it was gorgeous. You just want to make sure you use a really good moisturizer with this. So I feel like the biggest problem with underconsumption or this underconsumption core trend, and honestly, my main point of this entire video, is that it just has so many mixed interpretations. And for that reason, I don't think the point is really being driven when it comes to underconsumption core. Everyone on the internet is really defining it differently. Personally, the way that I kind of see underconsumption core is simply just frugality and then simply just a way of being more sustainable. I actually don't think underconsumption is the right word for a trend like this, because a lot of the videos I'm seeing where people are using up their makeup products or using up their body wash or their skincare products and only having one of something, to me that is still consumption, especially when it's a luxury item. It's not, in my opinion, under consumption because you're still consuming those products, but the difference is you're being a little bit more frugal and sustainable about it, which normal people do, making sure you finish up the product before you buy a new one. But I do understand that the whole point of naming it under consumption core is to combat the overconsumption we see online. I've also seen videos where people are misinterpreting interpreting this with minimalism. And the problem with minimalism is that it was really encouraging people to get rid of things. But with underconsumption core, it's encouraging you to be less wasteful. But again, you might be seeing different videos. I think some people are doing declutter videos and considering it underconsumption core. But in those comments, I see a lot of people just screaming at them and telling them that is not underconsumption core. What really inspires me about underconsumption core, despite the term that I don't really agree with, is that instead of pushing people to buy things or to get rid of their things, it's encouraging people to reuse things, repurpose things, even if they're broken, in order to prevent further purchases, which is always going to be better for your wallet and the environment. Again, I still see this as like frugality and sustainability, but we are calling it underconsumption core, which if our generation needs to have a specific name for it in order for it to be impactful, then so be it, right? Forgot to mention that I'm using the Kosas Revealer Concealer, which isn't necessarily old, but it's a pretty trendy product, and there's been so many new concealers that have come out since this one, and I still really enjoy it. Is it my holy grail? Is it my favorite? Not necessarily. Like, once I finish this one up, I probably don't know if I'm gonna repurchase it. I don't think it gives me enough coverage. But I'm gonna go in with the Huda Beauty Tantor, which in my opinion and based on my preferences, this is by far the best cream bronzer of all time. I've tried so many cream bronzers since this one, and every time I go back, I still think this is the best. It just blends the best, has the best color for my skin tone, and if I had to only pick one to finish up, it would be this one. Like, I cannot get enough of it, and it just goes to show that there are a lot of old products that have released that still can stand the test of time, just like the Estee Lauder, the Huda Beauty Tantor. Sometimes you'll try new things and nothing really just compares to what you used to love. And that's what I really like about this trend. It's about consuming less with the intent to have things that are going to last you forever, or with the intent to use things completely up. I know when it comes to makeup, I am not the person that has that intent. I usually buy to try, but this trend is just a reminder for me to take a step back and just look at what I already own and realize I love everything that I have already. I've tried so many products and I'm pretty content with what I already own. For liquid blush, I'm using the classic Rare Beauty liquid blush. This is a perfect example of a product going viral, everyone falling in love with it or wanting to try it, and then over time it becomes kind of like an outdated product. I've seen a lot of people in my comments talk about how they regret buying this liquid blush because it's too pigmented and difficult to use. And personally, I also haven't used it in quite a while. My problem isn't the pigmentation. My problem is that I have multiple shades that have more of a dewy finish, which I don't really like. The only shade that I end up enjoying is the shade Grace because it has more of a matte kind of satin natural finish, which I like more. I sprayed on this setting spray, which is more like a makeup fixer. It's not called a setting spray. Oh, it sets makeup without clumping for a soft finish, helps set makeup smoothly. It's from Tier. I don't know how I feel about this yet. It is a new product, but I don't have an old setting spray, so I decided to use this one. While we let that set, I do kind of want to move on to more of my controversial perspective, which is that makeup is technically not under consumption. And I mainly didn't think of it this way until I read like this Reddit post about underconsumption core and how makeup is more of a luxury, so it's not technically underconsumption core. And I kind of agree with it because if we are taking underconsumption core more literally, then it's really just about having the necessities, reusing the necessities, repurposing the necessities, and not buying things that we don't need. And under that category of things that we don't need is makeup. Like, we do not need makeup. Makeup is very much more of a luxurious item. So if we're purchasing that and using that all up, in some ways, yes, it can be under the underconsumption core category. But then if we're taking underconsumption core to the extreme, then makeup should be something that we leave behind because it's a luxury. Again, it ties into frugality and my point of there's so many different interpretations and definitions of what underconsumption core is. We cannot agree as an internet as to what this really means, and that is the true problem here. I'm going to apply on the One Size setting powder, which I haven't used this in a while either because I've replaced it with the Huda Beauty setting powder, so let's see if I still love it. But I think despite all of our definitions of underconsumption core, the true intention and meaning is just to buy less. Whether that means you reuse products, use up all products, it's simply just about buying less items and being content with what we own before we decide to make purchases. And whether you agree or not, if makeup falls within that underconsumption core category, I think we can all agree that using expired makeup is unhygienic and risky. And I know there are a lot of people out there that use expired old makeup. That is always going to be up to you to decide whether you're comfortable doing that or not comfortable doing that. The max I will keep products for is a year past the technical expiration open date. I lied. I looked at my makeup collection and there are a few products that are over 2 years old, but I didn't start buying makeup until 2020, so a lot of my collection is fairly new. But I know other people who have makeup that are like 8, 5, 10 years old. And the underconsumption core trend is encouraging people to use up old products. And when it comes to makeup, I just don't think that should apply for the sake of unhygienic reasons and risky reasons. Again, you can decide for yourself whether that feels safe or not. Now, before you leave a comment, I want to clarify that I am not against using up your makeup or using up your beauty products. If it's not expired or doesn't seem to be expired and you don't have the luxury to buy something new to replace it, then of course use up your makeup, use up your beauty products. What I'm really just trying to say here is that if you end up having so many old products to the point that they expire before you can use them up, I personally would not consider that underconsumption core. And you were over consuming the products in the first place because you bought them without realizing that you couldn't finish them up before they expired. But what I do love about this trend is that it is encouraging people to use up their products before they expire. I just don't think that you should risk your health and your hygiene in order to not feel guilty about a purchase that you made. Because at the end of the day, your health matters just as much. True underconsumption core is only buying makeup once every few years, once a year, and using those products with the intent to finish them before they expire versus letting them expire and then trying to finish them that way. Like for me, how I consume makeup does not fall under underconsumption core. Y'all, I feel like it is so hard to get my point across while doing makeup. It's just like really hard to focus and concentrate. I really like the way that my skin looks. I feel like this is gonna look really good on camera because it's super matte. The Estee Lauder foundation is giving full coverage, full beat. One Size is giving mattification. This is the Victoria Beckham, what is this called? Lid Luster in the shade Velvet. And it's just this gorgeous kind of muted olive green color. Oh my gosh, I forgot how beautiful this is. We should always go back into our makeup collection and remind ourselves of what we have because holy crap, this has been sitting in my makeup drawer for months and I haven't been using it. Are you serious right now? My next problem with underconsumption core is that yes, it's creating this kind of balance on social media where it's combating all of the overconsumption influencers and the overconsumption videos, but what it's not doing is addressing everyone's part in this consumption cycle. So for example, social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, they play a part in the consumption cycle due to advertisements and their shopping features. But not only that, their algorithm usually favors content creators who are going to push sales specifically by using features like TikTok Shop or the YouTube shopping affiliate feature. These platforms encourage influencers and content creators to use these features because the platforms also want to make money. And YouTube encourages creators to monetize their videos so that advertisements can be played in their videos. So of course, social platforms want to make money. Content creators want to make money. So it's the cycle of encouraging product pushes and shopping features. But it's not just the content creators / influencers or the social platforms that have a part to play in this, but it's also the the viewers and the brands themselves. So obviously we know brands, they want to make money. That's literally their entire life mission, is to get you to buy their products. So they're going to do whatever they can to get you to buy their products, whether that's paying influencers to do sponsorships, or putting their products on TikTok Shop, or allowing affiliate links on YouTube. Brands are going to do whatever they can to get you to consume and buy things. That's kind of a given, that's kind of an obvious, but viewers also have a major part to play, just like influencers and the social platforms itself. As viewers, every like, every comment, every view, every second, every minute that you watch something counts as like a vote into the algorithm. So even if you hate watch something, that is a vote into the algorithm that that content should be pushed out more. And that's why when content creators and influencers make videos that are to the extreme of something that you might hate or something that you might love, no matter whether it's positive or negative, it's going to be pushed into the algorithm. So that's why when you see videos that promote overconsumption, like restocking videos or huge hauls or PR unboxings, they always do so well, because whether you hate on those videos or you love those videos, it doesn't matter. You are voting by just even viewing the video for a second. And that's why I encourage you to just curate your algorithm for what you actually want to see. Do not bother spending any time and energy hating on creators or influencers. Just don't do it, because it's only going to push out the content more. But we also have to remember that there are like two sides or multiple sides to the internet. There's a side of the internet where people love sustainability content. People don't want to consume as much. People want to be more critical with their purchasing decisions. And then there's the other side of the internet where there are normal people that genuinely want to shop. They love to shop. They are on that side of the internet. They want to stay on that side of the internet. So what I like about this trend, it's that it's kind of like balancing it out a little bit. So instead of just overconsumption content being pushed out, it's now giving people the opportunity to watch creators and influencers that don't consume as much. And viewers are doing this to see more normal people on their timeline, but I hate describing the underconsumption core as doing what normal people do, because the people around me that are normal, that don't keep up with social media, that don't even know what underconsumption core is, are also the same type of people that overconsume or will watch content that encourages them to overconsume. There's a lot of normal people in my life with various different incomes that overconsume in some aspect of their life, whether that's kitchen gadgets, makeup products, skincare products, tech gadgets. And that leads me to the next point, which is that the underconsumption core trend is really only impactful to people who are chronically online. By the way, for mascara, I use the L'Oreal Voluminous Butterfly Waterproof Mascara, which I am constantly repurchasing every few months. I have been using this for years and years and years. For powder, I'm going to use this old Hourglass palette that I got a few years ago. I think it was about 2 years old, and it was in their holiday collection. I still love this palette, but I haven't used it in a while, so I'm excited to kind of see how it looks again. I think there's this misconception online that everyday normal people don't consume as much, and I would disagree. When I look around at all of the people in my life, that is not true. A lot of the normal people in my life are very influenced by like Amazon purchases, Temu, Shein. If anything, they just don't buy really expensive products. They're buying products that are on the cheaper end of things when they see like an advertisement or something like that. And they're not really thinking about, am I over consuming? Am I under consuming? And even the people who aren't chronically online or seeing advertisements online or influencers pushing products online, they're still being influenced by other people in their life to buy things, or they're being influenced by ads on the TV, or they're being influenced by just traditional media, which in my opinion is just the basic cycle of consumerism. And when I say it's just a problem for people who are chronically online, I mean the problem of overconsumption and being sick and tired of seeing overconsumption in content creators is only really a frustration that people have when you're constantly online. Normal, everyday people, they're literally just focused on their current present life offline, and they're not worrying about what other people are doing. If anything, they might notice that they're over consuming, or they might be spending too much money and decide to cut back versus watching a bunch of content creators and influencers and getting frustrated with their overconsumption. And I say this because when I talk to the people in my life who I would consider normal, or even people who are chronically online, they have no idea what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, the trend is a response to the overconsumption that we see online, but there's also a lot of overconsumption that isn't being shown offline. And if we're really trying to make an impact, I think it does have to go beyond what kind of trend we're creating online. That is my point. Anyways, for lipstick, I'm using the Lisa Eldridge Velvet Cinnabar, which I haven't used in a while. It's very much like a bold lip color that puts me out of my comfort zone. I think I'm gonna pair it with a lip liner, my favorite Foxy Brown lip liner from Charlotte. And I think I'm just gonna dab this and just spread it. Pretty. Wait, are the eyes and the lips too much? Let me go in with a gloss. This is the Buxom Peppermint Hot Cocoa Gloss. I think this is from like 2 years ago. I do not remember when I got this. I feel like it's a lot of fun using old products that I completely forgot about. Again, it's a good reminder that sometimes you're already love what you own and you don't need to try any more products. Especially this Victoria Beckham eyeshadow. I need to be wearing this like every day. I also love the Lisa Eldridge lipstick. I think in the future I just wouldn't pair it with this kind of eyeshadow, maybe a little bit more of a bare eyeshadow. And the foundation looks gorgeous. Probably gonna wear that on camera again. Now that my makeup is done, I'm gonna move on to the last problem that I have with the underconsumption core trend, and it's the fact that it's linked to feelings of shame. Like a lot of trends like this, I feel like the overconsumption trend, underconsumption trend is all just linked to this shameful feeling. Sometimes a little bit of shame is good, especially when you're trying to make a change in the world, but shame can also have the opposite effect of the change that we want to see. So that's why you see a lot of mixed comments on TikTok about what underconsumption really is, if underconsumption is a good thing or a bad thing. There's multiple different sides where people just absolutely hate the trend, and then there are other people that absolutely love the trend. I think the people that hate the trend are the people that are kind of over-consuming and they don't want to adjust to the underconsumption core trend. But to that I say, there's always going to be a new trend for something. Always. First it was minimalism, then it was maximalism, then it was overconsumption, now it's underconsumption. There's a trend for everything, and I think with social media, we like to label things for some reason in order for us to feel like we can be included or accepted or welcomed online. But at the end of the day, I think it is totally up to you how you see a trend and how you want to move forward with it. I personally know that I do not fall under the underconsumption core. I don't plan on falling under the underconsumption core trend, and I don't want to mold myself to fit within these different trends just to stay relevant. For me personally, I am going to be taking some inspiration from this trend because there are a lot of content creators that have come up on my feed because of this trend that I am starting to follow. I really enjoy watching sustainability content and learning more about how I can reuse and repurpose things. And I also like reminding myself that I should just love and enjoy what I already have. I hope to get to the point where my consumption is more aligned with my values. I'm just not there right now, and personally for me, I'm okay with that because I know I'm working towards that, and there's always going to be a new trend for something, so it's kind of useless to try to fit within these boxes or even feel bad about yourself because of what the internet is saying. All that really matters is how you feel about yourself, what you're doing, and how you're going to make improvements in the future. With all of that being said, I know I talked a lot about the problems with underconsumption core, but I hope you also get and understand that I do think that this is a positive trend overall. I do see the intent for the trend, and I'm not hating on the trend at all because I've said a million times in this video that I'm truly inspired by what content is surfacing because of this trend. I just think the main problem is that the term is being misinterpreted and the internet cannot decide on what underconsumption core actually is. And on top of that, I don't think it's doing enough to address the real problem of consumption, but that's why I think it's really important to have content creators that are focused on this type of content and to follow content creators that focus on underconsumption videos or sustainability videos or even minimalism videos or frugality videos, because there is a space for them and it will really balance out other content creators and influencers who may be encouraging overconsumption. I think the important thing is that this trend is diversifying what we see online versus only seeing content creators and influencers showing what they're buying. Now we're seeing both. And I think it's really important to have both perspectives, because then we can all find someone that we relate to. I hope this video inspires you to dig into your makeup collection or beauty routine or just anywhere in your house and find old things that you used to love and try to use them again before buying something new. I hope it also helps you think a little bit more critically about the underconsumption core trend. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and comment down below, what is your oldest beauty product? Because I would be really interested to know, and how many years have you had that beauty product and why are you keeping it? Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!